Hi, I'm Bryce, your Uber driver in Taiwan. Fasten your seatbelt, okay? Most people see Zhubei as a city racing toward the future. New roads, new buildings. But underneath that speed, an older Hakka rhythm is still here. Apartment lights come on, one after another, but the older rhythm does not fully disappear. You can feel it in Xinhua, in Liujia life, in a bowl of Hakka Bantiao, and in rice growing by a slower clock. So what does a city keep when almost everything around it is changing? Tonight, that is why we are going through Zhubei City in Hsinchu County. Not to praise growth, not to complain about it, just to notice what stays human inside it. Zhubei is not only a new city story, it is also a memory story. The city keeps moving, and still some older local habits refuse to disappear. In Zhubei, that memory often has a Hakka shape. It is in settlement names, rice, food, houses, and the way people still talk about place. A fast-growing city can make everything feel temporary. New roads appear, buildings rise, people move in for work, school, family, and better convenience. After a while, a place can start to sound like a schedule. Commute here, transfer there, eat quickly, go home late. But Zhubei is not only a schedule. It's Tlang where Hsinchu's urban growth meets older Hakka settlement life. Wow. That meeting point is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is just a street name people still use. Sometimes it is a bowl of Hakka Bantiao that feels too ordinary to explain. Sometimes it is rice from Lija, sitting quietly behind all the talk about development. The interesting thing is, not that old things survive perfectly. The interesting thing is that they survive inside change. One place that helps explain this is Xinhua. I do not want to treat it like a museum label. What matters is the feeling behind it. An old house, an old settlement, a community space, and a reminder that Zhubei was not born as a new city overnight. Before the towers and wide roads, there were families, fields, irrigation, and local routines. There was the slower rhythm of Liujia life. There were people who understood the land through seasons, neighbors, and meals. That kind of life does not vanish just because a city becomes convenient. It becomes quieter. It moves into corners. It becomes something you have to listen for. And maybe that is why the meeting between Hsinchu's city life and Hakka settlement memory feels important. It shows that a place can become modern without becoming empty. When I drive at night, I often think cities look simpler than they really are. From the road, you see lights, glass, scooters, buses, signs, and apartment windows. It can all look like one big urban surface. But people do not live in a surface. They live in layers. A new building can stand near an old memory. A family can eat a very normal dinner and still carry a place's history without saying so. That is what food does well. Hakka Ban Tiao is not just a dish to name in a script. It is a way of thinking about filling food, simple food, food made for people who had work to do. Soft rice noodles, a clear bowl, maybe not fancy, but steady. Food like that does not need to perform. It belongs because people keep returning to it. Liu Jie rice carries another kind of quiet memory. Rice is easy to overlook because it is everywhere. But that is exactly why it matters. Rice is daily life before it is culture. It means water, field work, patience, storage, family meals, and the simple idea that dinner should feel complete. In a city like Zhubei, rice becomes a small resistance against speed. Not resistance like protest, more like balance. The city can grow fast, but rice still grows by a different clock. The same is true for Hakka settlement life. It does not always announce itself loudly. It can be in how people gather, how old spaces are reused, how a community remembers the difference between living somewhere and just passing through. That is why I do not want to make Zhubei only a story about development. Development is real, of course. But if we only talk about new road and new buildings, we miss the older rhythm underneath. A place is not only what it builds next, it is also what it still knows how to keep. So maybe Zhubei's meaning is not about choosing old or new. Maybe the meaning is in the tension between them. A city can be useful and still need memory. A community can change and still need names that feel human. Xinhua and Liu Jie life give the city a longer shadow. Hakka Bantiao and Liu Jie rice bring that shadow back to the table. They remind us that ordinary food is often where history becomes livable. Not heavy, not formal, just there. The city keeps moving, but not everything has to move at the same speed. Some things should stay slow enough for people to recognize themselves. So here is the midnight question. When your city changes faster than your memory, what helps you still feel located? Is it a house, a meal, what your family still uses? Or is it just one old rhythm that keeps showing up, even when everything around it looks new? As we leave Zhubei tonight, I do not want to make it too neat. It is not only a modern city, and it is not only an old settlement story. It is both, and maybe that is why it feels alive. New people arrive, old names remain. Rice still matters. Noodles still carry memory. A city can be busy and still have a quiet center. A place can keep changing and still keep something for the people who live there. Thanks for riding with me tonight. Take care of yourself. And maybe next time you pass through a fast-growing place, listen for the older rhythm underneath.